Hi, I'm Terry Murphy for the Women's Wisdom Network and for Realty Times Senior Editor for Realty Times Women in Business, Women in Real Estate, and in the Men's Room with Murph. And today we have quite a leader to feature in Women in Business. Her name is Ruby Bright. And I don't know if I can tell you everything because there's so much, but she has led one of the most powerful nonprofit organizations and been the power behind executing programs that support philanthropy in Memphis, Tennessee. And under her leadership, the program promotes philanthropy and the fostering of leadership among and two other programs, which is key here because of the leveraging of it, that support women and children to reach their fullest potential. Can you believe that this woman has generated over 30 million American dollars? That's amazing. Welcome, Ruby Bright.
Thank you. Thank you. It's nice to see you, Terry.
Well, as the president and CEO and executive director and chief operating officer, I mean, oh my God, you do everything? I mean, you do everything. But, you know, there's a history to the Women's Foundation of Greater Memphis. And people that don't know Memphis don't understand that this is this is nationally recognized because of some of the spotlights and some of your sponsors people have heard of, like FedEx as an example. So tell us a little bit about what the foundation is, how it started, and where it is now.
Well, thank you. It's an honor to have the opportunity always to share about the Women's Foundation for Greater Memphis. And as you said, I mean, we started in 1995 with this very clear mission to promote philanthropy among women, foster leadership, and support programs that help women and children reach their full potential. That ideation probably started in the late 80s with women, legendary women like Myrtie Buckman and others in the community who said, what if and could there be a possible opportunity to start a women's foundation, which they had probably started across the country, maybe 10 or 12 of them. And being a woman far beyond her time, she researched that, especially when you start to look at where money goes in the community. She was always looking at where's money and who leveraged those dollars. And honestly, it was men leading organizations like the boys clubs and all of those other organizations. So anyway, she met with women, they looked at it, thought about it, and what do women do? They make things happen. Thus started the Women's Foundation, made up of a board of directors, of leaders throughout the community, very diverse. You know, the guiding principles of value was that it would be a diverse board of directors and that we would focus on helping women and children, women and girls in marginalized communities. For Memphis, that's not hard to find. Unfortunately, there's two things about Memphis. One is that we are a giving community, volunteerism of time and dollars. The other is the need continues to be much greater than our ability to, galvanize all of those resources. So Women's Foundation is a grant-making organization that simply raises its money and then grant those dollars back out into the community. And we've been doing that for the last 20 years.
And well, as a matter of fact, and obviously it's a challenge because grant writing isn't that easy just all by itself, let alone to connect it with other entities and other local, both and national entities, because some of your accolades are amazing that you had worked with. I mean, you've been cited as one of the 2015 Super Women in Business Award. In 2017, the Organization of Black Elected Legislative Women, Nobel, the Shining Star Award in 2017. And I love this one, the Girl Scouts One Smart Cookie Award in 2017. I mean, you've been, your influence is clearly abundant. People want to follow you, and there's a reason for that. The articulation of the mission, the focus, and you know what it's like to work with the board of directors. I mean, you've got different everything. We'll just leave it there. And yet you've mastered that. You've mastered how you've done that. And the legacy has been substantial. I mean, there are events that the Women's Foundation for Greater Memphis have that have been wildly successful. To put 1,600 people in a room for lunch when you're not a rock star is pretty cool. Tell us about some of the initiatives that have helped you raise that kind of money.
Well, just as you said, one is individual giving corporations and foundations support and special events. And the special events have been important to us, not just in raising money. Yes, we have objectives, but also to share what we're doing, what we're doing in the community, the programmatic side of, supporting 30 plus grantees each year and ensuring that over $1.2 million are put right back into the community, and that all of the resources that from a budget, our annual budget is a little over 2 million. So as you can see, there's an operation and then there's a programming component of that. And sharing the importance of the work through these events are important. We also believe in building and networking opportunities, and women to get together and be a part of Power of the Purse, really elevating that leadership in unique ways and having fun doing so.
Okay, let's talk about the Power of the Purse, because I think you got the attention of a lot of people when you said that. Explain what that is, because I've attended it and it is very impressive.
Well, thank you. Well, the Power of the Purse is really it started off as a live and a silent auction, and it is really look in your closet, Terry, and find that purse that has a special meaning that you might even want to share a story about. But let's put it on auction. Let's look at the other things that are very interesting. Communities, people are interested in galvanizing, and let's bring people together and elevate the leadership of women through this, what we call purse power. Is that I will tell you that 60% of our items are beautiful name brand purses and beautiful jewelry, as well as a gift certificate or a beautiful shawl that someone is donating. So the power of the purse is really bringing women together, women and men. Now, I'm proud to say that we have a good support from both female and male sector, which is absolutely wonderful. But led by the ingenious of women who imagine this community to be a greater community. That's very, very special. No magic for me. It is through the board of directors. And yes, I'm a visionary. I'll accept that. But to actually pull that together and vision and get people to agree and move that vision forward has been the kind of work that help us to bring Vision 2020 into play in 2015. And that's to reduce poverty in one of our poorest zip codes in the community.
And that is obvious, because the work, I loved when you said it goes back into the community. So often people give and then it goes somewhere else, but it shows up right here in Memphis, Tennessee. And I want to just mention that in the Power of the Purse, there can be celebrity handbags. I actually made sure I got Marguerite Piazza's little bag. Marguerite Piazza, the first star of stage and screen and opera singer and phenomenal person who happened to wound up in Memphis, Tennessee. We've had Naomi, she's come in.
Yes, Naomi Judd has been a speaker. I mean, we've had national speakers, Debbie Allen. I mean, when I start naming speakers, I always get in trouble because,
You mentioned your favorites.
Yes, Jennifer Holland. I do. I think that the diversity of the speakers, it's, the luncheon, 1,600 people in the room. And yes, the speaker is kind of important, but it's really being in the room to be able to say that I was there, and that network, that buzz, it's so empowering. And, that is really what it's about. What propels us forward, and what help us to help others to see how they can propel forward. Leadership, fostering that leadership, elevating that leadership, and then providing support to organizations and people who need that support, and being an advocate for that change that we want to be.
Well, exactly. And that's why I wanted to mention that, because there are people, especially high-level people in Memphis that, and I mean high-level like national brands, that support this event and support the Women's Foundation. Hilton Hollis, who is one of our fashion designers and contributors for Realty Times, designs a scarf every year, and people fight over making sure they get one. And again, he gives of his talent. because of his support of women in business and
He
bringing
does.
up.
Hilton, I have to say, thank you for reminding me of what a wonderful friend Hilton Hollis is. I joined with Barry Wurzburg, Joseph. They are really great partners, but Hilton gives his design, and all we care for, all we have to take care of is the production and the shipping, of those scarves. And they're absolutely gorgeous. Each has a theme, and it is a conversation, if you will, for women that have it on. And sometimes, you meet up with someone and they've got the 2007 scarf, or someone's got, another year, the 12. So we've had Hilton loving on us for several years, with the point that he wants to make is he honors his dear mother any chance he gets. So this is just yet another opportunity to elevate women and women's leadership. Thank you, Hilton.
Yes, he is definitely our BFF, just so you know. One of the things that I wanted to talk about is the 25th anniversary celebration. I mean, nonprofits, boy, you talk about issues of, global impact and political impact and economic impact. And yet clearly, I mean, under your leadership, Ruby, things that keep moving forward and in a very strong, and I don't want to say tenacious, but I want to say pragmatic way, because it's not letting up anytime soon. And so you've got the celebration on hold just because of what's going on. But in that celebration, tell us some of the spotlights that'll be happening there.
Well, the 25th anniversary celebration certainly was put on pause to some degree, but we had to, really think about what is our purpose again. And last May, when we recognized we weren't going to be able to have the event, we held a community food drive and PPP drive, really providing those masks, hand sanitizer, and food for families in 38126. We went there. And that's the kind of thing that's going to happen for us this year. I mean, we've held a backpack drive just a couple of weeks ago in partnership with Memphis Grizzly. FedEx is our presenting sponsor of the luncheon, as well as many other parts of the community. And there are many other sponsors that come along with that help us to ensure that we receive the dollars. I want to say that our sponsors, they're listed on our website, at wfgm.org. But they really stepped up last year. We had to postpone 2020, but they came in as sponsors. Our new date for 2021 will be a virtual event. We will host one. The date looks like it's going to be May 13th. And, we're just proud of how the sponsorships come on board. But good friends, that have been a part of the organization since its inception, friends like the Hod Family Foundation, those anchor organizations, foundations, and institutions, that relationship is really what's important and what has held us strong, and will continue to be the lead light so that individuals will see the work and see that we have that kind of community galvanizing support. And then, the $25 check with an extra $10 in cash with a long note saying, keep up the good work. That's my inspiration. And I just received one of those last week. Keep up the good work. Keep the fight. And that's what we have to do. Communities have to be ready to respond. As I said, I'm not a rocket scientist at all, but I do know about community and community.
No, you know about community, and I don't want you to underscore that, because when you have 1,600 women chatting like crazy, all going to lunch, and the power of the connection and the networking, the support from woman to woman is palpable. It's quite palpable. But here's where your leadership comes in, because leadership is one thing and execution is another. And the execution of an event that large, of that size, is organized, it's on time. Murphy's Law always steps in. There's always something that doesn't go right. And yet you've got this trust because of your celebrity authority as being such a leader. But one of the things that I think needs to be clarified here is the advocacy work that you do, and what happens with key policy debates, and what happened in the White House. with Obama. I mean, why don't you tell us a little bit about what happens both nationally and locally as
We
you.
are part of a national organization, the Women's Foundation is. And I also want to take just a minute to say a team, building a strong team. I wish I can't, we don't do this without staff who have the clear expertise. I always try to bring people that know more than I do to the team. And we are fortunate to have that leadership at staff and board level, and they really help make the difference. And then on a national level, that's probably one part that I brought. Having worked for another nonprofit prior to my long stint with Women's Foundation, I connected with the national affiliate. And with that, I had, experience in doing so. And we made that connection. And yes, the Interest in Memphis came. And so Women's Funding Network, advocacy around policy for on a local level within the state, with Memphis Housing Authority a few years ago, it was several years ago, reducing rent, or, not reducing rent, but not being penalized the minute you get a job that your rent goes to market value. We were able to work with the Housing Authority to help bridge that and show an example, give people a chance, and then they will catch up. That's a kind of policy that's not going to be on a national agenda, but it was our agenda, just to give you some idea. The other is around education and ensuring that everyone has an opportunity, that children have access and opportunity. And that's why we sponsor the backpack drive, and to be sure that kids have the resources. We are really advocating for technology in zip code 38126 now, broadband zip technology, so children can get internet support without whether their parents are able to afford it or not. That opening those kind of vehicles or doors are the kind of things that we want to do and will continue to do. There have been many, we were a part of the Women's Economic Security, and that is safety and security for women. Very important. And that was very strong, yes, during the Obama's administration. And we played a key role, Women's Foundations, and I was fortunate to be one of 8 leading the Women's Prosperity effort, and helped to host a conference in Washington, D.C., for women to share, women and girls. And now our Young Women's Initiative, the safety and security of girls is very, very important for them being able to have their voice.
Safety, would you expand on safety, what you mean by that?
So it does have a broader bush, but domestic violence, okay, bullying, and just the ability to be safe in schools so that young girls are not marginalized. So we have a broad umbrella, but it's really from everything from domestic violence to self-security.
Well, you've got $30 million was invested in 600 programs. 600
over 20
programs.
years.
Over 20 years. Yeah, it doesn't make any difference. The 600 is still a big number, Ruby. And it talks about how we like to talk about women in legacy and how it goes beyond your knowing. I mean, long after you move on, there are tenements that continue to exist. There's energies and focuses and initiatives that continue to exist and hopefully improve. And the only way we can do it, and you and I both know this, is when you can impact children and young girls, then you create the mothers of tomorrow, the leaders of tomorrow. And at least there is a beacon. There's an awareness, especially here in this particular area of the world, as in any area, that really empowers women to be their best, which is what the whole primary core value is for the Women's Foundation of Greater Memphis. So I have to thank you for the amazing work you and your team. And of course, we always want to recognize the team. You've got, how many people are working on staff right now?
So we have 7 full-time staff members, and then on a good day, we could have 15 people there, from volunteers to part-time support and consultants, but everyone feels a part of a team. So we feel like that we're pretty about 11 strong, from diverse, expertise, that they're just amazing. I salute them.
Well, and that's what makes any nucleus work, is when the foundation is collaborative, synergistic, share values and whatever. And obviously a leader has to understand that that's part of what sustains the team and keeps the team members there. So I have a question for you, and that is, what's next for Ruby Bright? If it were a perfect world and you could do whatever, I mean, I know that you won't retire and just knit. So tell me, what's in store? What's in your vision? What's on your vision board going forward?
So it's a empty board for now, with a lot of things, a lot of words in my mind, in my head. I think that I will tell you that my passion and what I've learned has really pushed to say that we need to really work on the advocacy side to change policy. That systemic change needs to occur. So around that policy issue and area of ensuring that we just make sure that we don't lose gains. Now, that's not saying I'm going into politics at all, but really going in deep dive into what are the opportunities, and then who can help make those changes. Building leadership among girls, very important to me. And I will say young girls of color, building that pathway and that pipeline sooner than later is an opportunity for young girls. And not that they don't have the ideas, it's opening the door so that they can step in. And we have to be ready, helping organizations to build leadership among women of color. That those areas need to be addressed. And so that's where I say address. The opportunity needs to meet and center that body of work. There are people who want to, and there are people who want to. But sometimes they don't always meet. Opportunity needs to meet in all of those areas.
And that's where that mentorship bridge can come in, the awareness of policies and opportunities that people are not necessarily aware of in the whirlwind of their life. And in general, women of all color often need permission, is what I get.
Absolutely.
They need permission to go through that door because they are worth it. And I've counseled Miss Americas all the way down to small or major CEOs, and it's as if there's this fragility and obviously we're speaking about women here, about being good enough and allowing themselves, and again, it so much depends on the vortex to which they're born, or where they're born, or the messaging around them, or the role models. And so the work of the Women's Foundation for a Greater Memphis is beyond Memphis. And so I really appreciate all you've done. If somebody wants to donate or to volunteer for any of the programs, what's the best way to do that?
They should go to our website and complete a form there. And they can always give us a call, at our office. But, 901-578-9346. 901-578-9346 is the quickest way to get the ball rolling. Send me an email, rubybright@wfgm.org, and go to our website, which is womensfoundation.org. Womensfoundation.org, you can get us. Not only I want you to learn more about the foundation, but share some of the great things that are happening, and how can we transform those over to Memphis. I think that we've shared a lot of great ideas of innovation from the foundation, but I will tell you, most of them, we've gotten them from other people. And Terry, thank you for the opportunity. And I will, with the subject that you have, women just have to let others in. And we have enough room at the table. Sometimes we forget that the chair is there for us too.
What a brilliant way to end this, because that's so absolutely true. And that's what we're about at Women's Wisdom Network, is women empowering and supporting other women. And what could be better than what you've done for over 20 years for the Women's Foundation of Greater Memphis. I want to thank you for joining us, and thank you for your legacy of exquisite leadership. And again, if you want to reach Ruby, if you go to the website, there's her little picture, and you can click right on it. It sets up an email just like that, because even every donation, it's not about helping one community, it's about helping women in general. So I want to thank you for joining us. Join us again, Ms. Ruby, for another segment of Smart Women, Smarter Choices on the Women's Wisdom Network. I'm Terry Murphy. I hope you'll join us again soon.